Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you game 2 in a series between Gosu's HwanSin versus Fnatic MSI's Rain here in the Xel'Naga Caverns. You can see Rain spawning as the green Terran player on the bottom left hand side of the map, HwanSin on the top right hand side of the map as the red Protoss. Protoss versus Terran once more. And once again, we're on another rather small map with only 2 spawning locations. Game 1, a very, very interesting game. Rain, instead of using the typical 1-1-1 build, which has now become almost out of style for Terran players, opted to go for a fast barracks, no gas early on, and then putting down a lot of marine pressure. That marine pressure was able to deal a lot of a lot of damage. As you can see, it was a trap. HwanSin saying that his 2 stalkers that were trying to put pressure onto the supply depot early on, getting caught in a trap. It was a trap. I think some people angry. All right. Anyways, we are gonna. I'm not quite sure what they're talking about here. I don't know the context. As we are now going to see a barracks being placed down here. Still no gas yet from the Terran. We'll see whether he goes for a refinery or if he goes for that supply depot, walling off the location and then making his way across the map. It looks like he will be going for that supply depot block, making sure that HwanSin's not going to be able to do any scouting. He needs to move an SCV over now. If not now, then he is going to end up allowing that probe to come in. And now you can see that SCV so eager to get the job done that he even came in with those minerals. And oh, doing a nice little transfer there, making sure that those minerals were not lost. So now you see an SCV continuing to move around. That SCV going to now start working there, and very nice passing through that supply depot with little to no issue. Also making sure that there was no cannons up there on the north side, as the supply depot is still sitting over here. Meanwhile, back in the base of the Protoss, we're going to see a gateway, a cybernetics core, the second pylon now in play, as we are now going into an earlier second gas. It looks like HwanSin wants to perhaps go either into Void Rays or perhaps get those Colossi a little bit earlier, try to punish his opponent. Try to punish his opponent if he is in fact going to go for that same build that he used the last time around. You can see another Marine, 2 Marines on the low ground, and now we are going into that command center there, lifting off. And now very interesting that he's actually lifting off this barracks. And this is a pretty wide open front door now. That barracks may perhaps try to train up some Marines, as we are going into a double refinery in order to catch up in that gas game. Most likely what Rain saw was, after he saw that second gas, he knew that his opponent is not going to be able to get nearly as many early gateways. And with a limited number of early gateways, he knew that he could lift off the barracks and perhaps fight with a little bit more mobility here. There are 3 Marines on that high ground. Poor probe walking up the ramp, only to get meet and greeted by 3 Marines. Those 3 Marines shutting down and destroying that probe in a matter of seconds. We can see that there is currently 2 barracks currently being built. A second command center, as I mentioned earlier, that should be upgraded to an orbital command in just a moment, as we are now going into a second gateway and a robotics facility. So we're going to see a lot of sentries being trained right now. Perhaps we'll see HwanSin try to go for a nexus down over here with all of the minerals he's saving by training up sentries. He does also have a robotics facility as well, so he will be able to train up that observer or build that observer in just a moment, as we are now going into a reactor, a tech lab, and a factory. So this may be a 1 base dual command center tank push with Marines, Marauders, and a siege tank. You can see now the command center about halfway done completing that orbital command. More proxy pylons coming in. That robotics bay being hidden a little bit away. Very, very nice from HwanSin, making sure that he can hide some of his tech buildings. I would have preferred if he hid it perhaps over here instead, as a robotics bay there is such an easy building to snipe from the low ground for Marauders. Marauders destroying tech buildings like they're made out of glass. with those Punisher grenades as long as you have sight up on that high ground. You can see Zealots now being warped in as well. So we are going to still be going into that 2-gate, 1 robotics facility, simply waiting for that Colossus to be added as the Marauders are going to be trying to make their way in. Oh, that Stalker taking a beating for just a moment as the Marauders and the Marines are getting in position. We are getting Stim Pack already. We are getting some Hellions and going into a starport. So this is not the game that I thought Rain was going to be trying to do. He is now just double training Marines, training up some Marauders, and also getting that starport up. A Hellion was able to make its way out and do a little bit of scouting, making sure that there are no proxy pylons along this backside. Rain currently behind 46-46. He is supply blocked, and that is going to seriously hurt him as it is hurting his production. He needs to get another supply depot up and running, otherwise he's going to be supply blocked again in just a moment. We can see a reactor now being added on that tech lab. The tech lab over here researching Stim, about halfway completed. Still got a long way to go. Orbital commands have a lot of energy on them. Could call in some additional mules. And I'm not quite sure why Rain is constantly supply blocked right now. This is not good at all. Really not good, as this one Hellion just looking around trying to figure out what it can see. It doesn't see much of anything. And what exactly is the strategy? Once again, being supply blocked at 54 over 54 for so long. All of these buildings not really able to train up anything at all. And now it's finally making a way down. Marines pushing back against that Stalker. One bunker has been salvaged. Marines also trying to push forward again. We'll see what's going to happen with that Stalker as the Marauders and the Marines are now establishing this low ground expansion and the orbital command on its way over to the natural expansion location. This looks like it is going to be a 1-base push from HwanSin. HwanSin does have 2 Colossi, and he is going to be dealing with Vikings. So that is going to be a bit of a problem. The Hellion did spot that, so he now knows that there's with one medevac, he needs to get as many of those Vikings out and trained up rather quickly, but they do not have the extended thermal lance range. Marauders will actually have a further range than the Colossi when sitting in that bunker. The Colossi now looking to destroy some of these supply depots. Vikings getting in a couple rounds of those Lancer torpedoes. Don't ask me how Lancer torpedoes work in the air. I'm not quite sure either, but HwanSin has to be very careful as another 2 Vikings going to be added to the 2 already in play. There is a lot of bunkers now down as well. SCVs could be called over, but most likely we will be getting perhaps a force field. Where are those force fields? No force fields just quite yet. Unable to repair in time. The Vikings are trying to engage the Marines, and the Marauders fighting back as well. One Viking does get taken down. More force fields coming in. SCVs are frantically trying to repair. The Vikings have not done their job yet against those Colossi. They really need to focus it down. More Stalkers are coming in, and it looks like this 1-base 2 Colossus push will destroy this natural expansion and perhaps even up the series at 1 game apiece. There are 2 Vikings currently in the air. The Colossi unable to attack that orbital command, but doesn't really care. Now going to be pushing up onto the high ground here. 1 Colossus left. Vikings are trying to engage. There's in comes some force fields. That Colossus is now backing off, and there is the GG by Rain. So Rain losing game 2 in this series. And now evening up the series at 1 game apiece. Stay tuned for game 3 in this best of 3 between Fnatic MSI's Rain and its Gosu's HwanSin.